Okay, everything. So we're continuing and we'll go to the technical questions. You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll go to the technical questions. So our technical questions for Maribon on class um and Bonisam for next. But then I'll just go to yours. Let me see. So let me see. You're having a technical interview.
Okay.
All right. So first question. I just want to state that I don't need to get them all right. I'm just trying to give you an idea of some of the questions or the nature of the questions that would come, of course. They could even just pick one of your projects and just ask you to walk them through it, something like that. It really depends. So, but then I just have some general questions. So I'll start with um, JavaScript and TypeScript. What is the difference?
Uh,
We need to hear you in the call so that the others.
TypeScript is JavaScript, but it is also more robust such that it is type specific.
Okay.
So such that you are able to specify strictly what types whatever variables you create must take or could take.
All right. So TypeScript is safe and robust. JavaScript isn't.
I would say TypeScript is addition to JavaScript, but it specifies types for every variable created.
All right. So this concept cuts across TypeScript and JavaScript. What is closure?
Sorry?
Closure. Someone has some researching to do. All right. When you don't know the answer to a question, right? Always tell them that you don't know or you're not sure. Don't try to formulate or try to Google while you're on the interview, or even worse, ChatGPT while you're on the interview or the call with them. Okay, so what is the difference between let, cons, and var? These keywords.
Well, const is creating a variable that cannot be later on changed within the program. So it's a constant. Let, both let and var allows you to create variables that can be later on changed at any time. But with recent updates of JavaScript, it or it prefers to use let rather than var. This is mostly because of the scope itself. So var is the scope is limited within functions, while the scope is global.
Nice. All right. So, do you have any idea what promises are?
Yes, I have an idea what a promise is. So a promise usually works with async functions, which it requires or it says that function is expected to return a result, but not necessarily immediately. And so it might take some time, but it is expected to return a result.
I'll just believe you here. I'm not tempted to believe you.
Very close to it. It may not be exact, but it's close to it.
All right. So, that's all on our JavaScript, TypeScript. Uh, Normally, there should have been a list of questions, but we don't have the time for that. Okay. So, jumping to React.
Okay, it
So,
should be
those are
fun.
next. So, what is React?
What is React?
React JS. I should put it like that.
I would say React is a front end framework that utilizes JavaScript, and it allows you to write codes which are a combination of both HTML and JavaScript.
Okay. So it's a front end framework that allows you to write code using both JavaScript and TypeScript.
Yes, because former languages you could write you write HTML in one file, JavaScript in another file, but then React lets you combine both HTML and JavaScript in the same file.
Okay. Well, what you said is actually correct. I was just expecting something else. A library, a framework for building UI components.
Okay.
So in React, what are props and
Props and
state?
okay. So in React, it allows us to create components which can be reused. And so when we have to use components which are dynamic, that is, they carry different data. The way in which we are able to utilize the same component over and over, but it carrying several data or different data that's it being dynamic, we do that by passing in props. So now props then serve as variables within those components such that whichever value we pass to that prop, it now affects the variables which we have created within the component.
So from what you said, I've actually understood states, but not props. And one thing, yeah, you may want to use the technical language, but sometimes in doing that we over explain and deviate. Right. So try to keep it simplified while putting in the technical language, of course, because the assumption is that the person interviewing you already knows the answers to this.
Okay, so to simply put, props allow us to pass uh, different values of data to a component, while state, what state does, it manages variables and basically it manages variables both the current value and allows you to be able to or manages how you change those values.
All right, that's actually fine. So props data that is passed to components, right? And then states data managed inside of components. But what about that word component? What's a component?
Well, a component is a pre-built it's pre-built code which can be reused in different instances.
I'm believing you again. So what about hooks in
Hooks,
React? What are hooks?
well, hooks in React are I would call them functions which are used to manage different states within the UI component.
All right. So what are some of the common hooks that are used in React?
The most common hooks are the use state and the use effect. There are also hooks such as the use ref and there is the use context as well.
So what does use state do?
Much like states, the use states be used to manage the different values of variables.
Okay. Okay, I don't have that yet, so I'm just using it again. All right. But what does it mean to lift a state up? Have you ever come across that in this or that concept?
Lift the state up.
Mhm. What is lifting state up?
Okay, so I've never heard of that. Perhaps if there is, I might know it in another way, but the way you put it, I've never heard of it.
Okay. So perhaps it was a phrase that you're unfamiliar with. So definitely, since you've never heard of that, you would research on it. That's the answer you should give them, right? And but then it means sharing state between components.
Sorry?
Sharing state between components.
Say I didn't mention.
Sharing state between
Oh,
components.
sharing states within company. What you call it?
Lifting state up.
Okay, thank you.
Um, so moving to next year's, you told me that you have some good knowledge in next year's. So what is next year's?
Next.js is also a JavaScript framework used in building UI components, and it has some core characteristics which makes it easy for routing, and you can also manage. It also has a middleware which you can verify information. That's sorry, can I take that again? Okay. So it is a front end framework based on JavaScript, with which it brings in some extra features, mostly uh, routing. So routing is so much better, and it also presents a middleware concept with which you are able to verify the correctness of data gotten from the backend before utilizing it in the front end.
Okay. So you said that Next.js is a JavaScript framework, but I've read in several articles that Next.js is is a framework of a framework. So is it actually a JavaScript framework or a React framework?
So I did say JavaScript framework because React is a JavaScript framework, and Next is an addition to React, and so that is why I guess by the rule of transitivity, Next is a React framework, where it is built on React.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Um, Client side rendering, server side rendering, static side generation. What is the difference?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Client side rendering, server
And
side rendering, and static side generation. What is the difference?
okay, so client side rendering, it involves the front end and user interaction. So whoever is utilizing the page, so in essence it requires user input,
Okay.
while server side interaction, this is code that works with the backend. And in static, essentially, it neither dependent on obtaining information from the client nor getting information from the backend.
And what about you've talked about client side rendering and server side rendering?
Yes.
What about static side generation?
I think static site, it doesn't need it. Like that's information that does not change, and so it neither needs input or it neither needs input from the client nor does it get input from the backend, and so its contents are unchanged.
Okay. Believe in you once more.
And I'm believing myself. I know the server, I know the client side, I know this, and so from the client side, I just that in like got the server side, and then the static side now is midway, I would say, because from the client side, usually whenever we use any new state, we're expected to specify that it is client side, and so and also all of these use states are all based on user interaction. So that is how I know of the user client. And so server client backend static, nothing changes.
Right.
I'm believing
So
myself.
believe in you too. So why should we use or why do um, some companies or some people use Next.js over React?
I am quite new to Next.js, and so from what I've seen so far, it's because it is easier to do certain things. Most importantly, routing. Routing is so much easier rather than installing a module, or it's rather than installing a package, and then like it's so hectic to implement routing with React, but with Next it is seamless, and it also allows for dynamic routing as well. So dynamic routing is much easier with it, and you can also validate information gotten from the backend before utilizing it in the front end. Likewise, validate information in the front end before sending to the backend, and so it's a higher security in that regard.
All right. So that's nice. I think you could look for more reasons of why Next.js is used
Yeah.
over React. And overall, like just get more sample interview questions specific to your case, front end, React, Next.js, and then the general questions. I mean, it could really surprise you. Someone asked me during an interview once that if I were the CEO of their company for a day, what would I change?
I would need to have in-depth knowledge on so I have to do company research itself. Yeah, but in my case, can I answer? Is it
Okay, you
something I
can
should answer?
answer. Although I don't think they'll ask an intern, but yeah, go ahead and answer.
All right. If I were CEO, if I were CEO for a day, so I can answer this question without actually talking about the company itself.
Yes, you can give a fictional companies,
Not the fictional company.
but
Because then I
let's just
also
not
need.
put some jerseys.
Okay. The thing is, I do not know anything about this. And these are like in depth. Because in the case of the company which I am going to, well, I hope to get into, I would say I have an idea on what the company does,
Right.
and so I will be able to piece out some information.
So let's call this company. You're going to company X. I
Like,
mean, if you're the CEO of company X for a day, what would you change?
okay, so far from my preliminary research on the company and what the company is all about, one thing I would change. Nah, I got nothing.
That is more a trick question.
Sorry.
It's a trick question.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you actually say something to change, they're like, this guy. It means he doesn't really take his time to do his research, understand everything. Like you already just have an answer, but then from what you're about to see for like okay, you need time to do that is an acceptable
Mm.
answer. So please get as many sample interview questions as possible so that you're not surprised.
Thank you.
Yes. So last question under Next.js. What are API routes in Next.js?
Good heavens, how was I thinking that way? API routes in Next.js. All right,
Yeah.
so API routes are essentially a way to link the backend to the front end. And so API routes allows you to send information to the backend and also receive information from the backend.
So they're basically backend endpoints inside the Next.js app.
Yes.
Next.js project. Okay. Mm, so the other questions I have here are more for the backend guys. But then let's go to something which is general for all of you. Git and version control. So I have a couple of questions to ask on Git. Many questions actually, but I'll not ask all. I'll just pick a few. So first off, what is Git?
Uh, Git is a version control system that allows. This is a version control system that allows you. No, no, sorry, that allows you. This is a version control system that monitors changes you do to the project and it saves all these changes.
Nice. Version control system used to track the changes in your code. All right. So what is the difference between Git and GitHub?
Okay. GitHub is an online registry that allows you to, or that hosts the codes which you've written. Why Git is the software itself, which uh, essentially tracks all the changes and manages conflicts within your code.
So you're right. GitHub, like the other platforms, is a hosting platform, or is a platform where you can host your Git repositories, right? And then with Git is a version control tool itself. So you answered that right. I'm just giving you the exact words again.
Okay.
All right. So what is a commit?
So a commit.
Yeah, what's a commit?
Okay. A commit is is I would say an instance or a snapshot. I think snapshot is the best one. A commit is a snapshot on the of the most recent changes or the most recent uh, outlook of your code.
All right. So it's a snapshot of your code or your project at a particular point in time, and they have their hashes for every commit, and they're always accompanied with messages that will give you more insight into it. So there are more questions here. These are like the basic questions. So let's move to some other questions. Let's take something under branching and merging. So what is a branch?
And a branch is sorry, I'm just trying to think to formulate the answer in a good way.
Branch challenge.
So, a branch is, I would say, another uh, instance of your code, which is independent of your main. No, it doesn't make sense. Like it's sort of there, but it's not there. Sorry,
You're
I'm
correct. you're correct. All right. So, but why do we even create branches? Why do we make use of branches?
Okay. We make use of branches such that we can test out new code so that we can test out new code without breaking what already works.
Okay. What is a merge conflict,
A
and how
merge,
do you resolve it?
okay. A merge conflict uh, occurs when we try to combine codes from different branches, and so this what happens is certain lines of code do not match exactly with each other. And so, in order to resolve it, we have to manually pick out or manually choose which code we are getting. Is it from, say, file A or file B? Or we can rewrite it the way we want.
All right, that's correct. So, what's the difference between merging and rebasing? Git merge, git rebase.
Um, so, what merging does is it it combines both files together. So, like what it does, it combines both files together such that they actually become one file. If that makes
No,
sense.
it's actually in relation to your history, your commit history. The difference between merging and rebasing.
Okay. Yeah. So what merging does is good. I have the idea. I
So, okay,
know.
communicate it as it is.
Okay.
Sometimes explaining it is also an issue, not that you don't know the concept.
Uh, Let me start with rebasing then. So what rebase does is it pulls, say, from your online repositories, from your online repository, but it does not indicate whatever you've pulled in what you currently have. So like it's sort of the idea is
Are you sure you're not trying to explain the difference between fetching and pulling? I'm asking about git merge and git rebase.
yeah, okay. Well, this is what I know as of now because when you pull, you can then because I know the both come with pulling because I've encountered them when I pull. Then he now asks me if I want to merge or rebase and all. And so merging now is whatever I've pulled. I know I want it to be reflected in what I currently have. While rebasing, I mean, it just brings it, but it does not really change whatever thing I currently have.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yeah, like I said, it's actually in relation to your history, your copy history. So you can look at it, check out the concepts again. All right. So git pull, git fetch. You know the difference between those, right? All
Yes,
right.
I do.
All right. So you should um check out the difference between basing and merging. Like I said, it's in relation to your history. One keeps your history, one rewrites your history. So what is it does
Okay.
giving note? Okay,
The
you got it.
base, yes, keeps your history, merge, rewrite your history.
Okay, so what is a .git ignore file? No, by the way, merge is the reverse of what you said.
Hmm,
Merge keeps, release, rewrite.
okay.
Okay, so what is a .git ignore file?
But that git ignore file contains a list of files that should not be considered when pushing. files to your online GitHub repository.
Just say to your online repository, but it could be. I mean, your answer should be platform agnostic. Okay. So, which command do you use to undo the last commit or your previous commit?
I am not familiar with that.
So we can move forward. Git reset, I think dash dash soft something something. Uh, okay, yeah, I was right. Dash dash soft head approximate. You know this approximately equal to sign.
Yes.
Yes, head one. So that one represents my the previous commit. Okay, how would you remove a file that has already been pushed to your online repository?
Well, there might be a more like a sophisticated way to do a quicker way to do it. But the way I do it as of now would be to delete. I mean, two ways. I can go to my online repo and delete it from there directly, or delete it in my in my local uh, area. Is it what's the word? I'm trying to use them. Like delete in my machine and then create another commit which will then delete it.
Okay, create another delete locally, create a
Yeah.
commit and then push again.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just trying to see if it's possible to delete a file directly from GitHub. I've never seen that option. So
Well, I've been able
sorry,
to. I've been
really.
able to edit.
Okay, no, editing is different, but I
Okay.
mean like deleting, removing. I've never
Oh,
seen that.
I've never tried it either. Just as you.
I was only checking again to be sure. Okay, let me see. So far, you're actually doing great. So, what is a pull request?
A pull request. All right. So when working with teams in a team setting where several persons work on the same file, a pull request is made such that the recent changes which one person has can be integrated to the main repository which everyone is contributing to.
Okay, yeah, that's actually correct. So, what do you think is the standard for writing good commit messages?
So a commit message should uh, be very descriptive. It should contain, firstly, you should use verbs, be descriptive, and it should contain the uh, the section on the work done. So that is if you're working across, so by section, I mean feature. Right? So it should contain the feature which you worked on and what the changes you made to that particular feature.
Okay, so what would be a standard commit message for maybe implementing authentication, for example?
All right, so I would say I would say authentication feature colon and then specify whatever change I made. Like for example, I would say authentication column that's specifying that I worked on the authentication feature, and then assuming I built or I redesigned a new login form, I would then say redesign login form to include maybe something specific which we wanted to see.
All right. So I've sent how that commit message should look like in the chat. So remember there are different categorizations. Is it a feature
Yeah.
you're working on? Is it a fix? Is it a chore? Is it something
A
related to
bug,
documents and
okay.
all that?
I remember that.
Okay. So last question: what is the difference between the Git flow and the GitHub flow, the GitHub workflow.
Good gracious. Difference between
Git flow and GitHub workflow.
I am not familiar with that as of now.
Nice, but you will research on it. Okay.
So what was the question?
Git flow versus GitHub workflow. Okay, so that is it so far. I'll share the questions with you guys. But then I said I was also going to give some interview preparation tips, right? So what you should do before the interview, first thing, understand the job description, understand the company you're going to. Next, review your projects, your own projects, review your projects. Because you could have done something and you implemented it a while ago, and then right now they ask you anything is going to be quite challenging or very, very clear compared to when you had implemented it. So review your projects, like I said, you could just pick a project. Maybe you have to walk us through this project.
That should be fun for me. I hope to do that.
All right. And then you should also practice explaining things out loud.
Right.
For you, I don't think you have much of a problem with that, but with when Sam in particular, he has work to do on that. And you should also prepare questions to ask them at the end of the interview.
Always ask what questions do you have for
Do you
us?
have any questions for us? Yeah. So ask them intentional questions, not just the standard things that they you. Yeah, the standard things we find still apply, but really make it specific, intentional. Okay, so that's what to do before the interview. Now, what should you do during the interview? Be honest.
Yeah.
Don't bluff. Don't bluff. And like I said, you guys should also look and sound confident. Right? But don't be so confident in something that's not true. Also,
That did help me in debate though. You tell a lie so confidently.
ah,
Everyone believes
until they
you.
dig deeper. Okay, and then if you don't know something, we already know. You can say, I'm not fully sure, but this is how I'd approach it, or I'm not very familiar with that concept yet, but I'll do more research on it. However, it suits the context.
Okay.
And then another thing, it depends, maybe probably during a technical interview and you're being asked to solve some particular problem, think aloud. Or if
Okay.
you want to do whiteboarding, ask them if you could share your screen so that you walk them through your entire thought process. It's really important. Oh, I said this already. Be calm and confident. Yeah, I said confident. Same thing. Now, what to do after the interview? Don't overthink it. Reflect on what you did well, and then you should also know what you need to improve because you also have the next interview to prepare for. And then one thing that most people don't do, send an email to your interviewer or a message, however they contact you. Thank you for this session. Don't do the general chat things. Thank you for this session. I enjoyed this. I was happy to have learned more about company X and your values. And maybe they even taught you something new during the session. Mention it there. It should be specific to them and tell them that you're looking forward to getting their feedback, moving forward to the next stage, and so on. So that is it. I'll share these questions with you guys. There are actually more which I did not ask because I wanted to put within the time. But then you guys should also look for more questions. Yeah, look for many more questions. Practice them. Talk to yourself in front of the mirror if need be. Ask someone to evaluate how you answer. Okay.
Thank you very much and thank you for your time.
I guess we can call it a day.